Today's video is brought to you by HubSpot. Number 1, your 30s are way better than your 20s. By a mile. You are not over the hill. You haven't even started up the hill. Number 2, don't take advice from anybody that hasn't failed. Of course, they should have seen success, but there's a class of people that are young and have only succeeded and never failed. The best advice comes from people with battle scars and good stories about how they got them. If you're new to the channel, my name is Steve Huynh, and I make content to help people up-level their tech careers. If you're not in tech, don't worry, you're welcome to be here. You might have heard some of this advice, but I guarantee you haven't heard all of it because they come from my own personal scars. Number 3, if there's something that you want to change about yourself, either do something about it or learn to live with it. This middle ground where you want to change but don't take any action is a living hell that never goes away. I've always been self-conscious about my teeth. In my 40s, I decided to get braces and do something about it. I wish I had done something about it when I was younger. Instead, I let this low-grade dissatisfaction infect my life for decades. I almost talked myself out of it because I'm a full-time content creator now and I'm on camera a bunch. But instead, I got fed up with it and ripped the Band-Aid off. Number 4, learn to regulate your emotions. When you get into your 30s, you're still young, and finally you have a bit of money. You have all of the ingredients. But the big thing that's going to hold you back are your emotions. Are you quick to anger? Do you get frustrated when things don't go your way? Are you depressed? Are your highs really high and your lows really low? Get your head right and you can literally do anything. Don't, and it'll feel like an invisible fence is holding you back. Number 5, take care of your body. It goes from being able to recover from anything you throw at it to creaking and hurting for like no reason. You know it's hit you when you grunt when you get up from your bed or chair. Your body is the only vessel you have. Treat it with respect. It catches up to you in your 30s. Number 6, you aren't going to stop growing and changing. You've probably experienced a ton of growth over the last 10 years, but if you think about the upcoming 10 years, you probably have this idea that you won't change. This is absolutely wrong. You will change an unbelievable amount. In my 30s, I met my wife, got married to her, bought a house, and had kids. I lost friends and family. You will change and it will be better. Anticipate and embrace it. Number 7, people are always asking me what new programming language to learn or what's the newest framework that they should know. They ask me whether they should get into blockchain or become an expert in AI. Here's the thing, there's always going to be something new to learn. Instead of focusing on what to learn, you should get better at learning new things. If you're going to get good at a new skill, make it meta-learning. Learn how to learn faster. Number 8, seriously people, wear sunscreen. I have a combination sunscreen moisturizer I put on every day. I'm 42 years old. Asian don't raisin, but that's because I put sunscreen and moisturizer on every day. Number 9, there's never a perfect time to do the big things in your life, so don't try to time things. Instead, ask yourself if there are any big blockers or reasons why you couldn't do it right now. If there aren't, do it. If you know you want to have kids, for example, and there isn't a good reason why not now, don't put it off until things are perfect. You'll wait too long. Same thing goes for most big life decisions. Have you been with your partner for a long time and are waiting to get married? Then get married. Nothing is going to happen that will make it a perfect time. Want to buy a house? The best time to buy a house is when you need a house. Don't try to time things like interest rates. You can always refinance later. Being a perfectionist when perfection doesn't exist is debilitating, and it'll hold you back. Number 10, you don't have infinite time with your parents or grandparents. In your 30s, this will become abundantly clear if it isn't already. In my 20s and 30s, I spent a lot of time trying to establish myself independently, and I missed opportunities that I'll never get back. It's too easy to take people and time for granted. Number 11, if you're a people pleaser like me, take steps to unlearn that. Coming from an Asian family, pleasing people is almost ingrained in my DNA. I did well in school because that's what was expected of me, and if I did well, then my parents were happy. After college, I got a job at Amazon, and that made my parents happy too. And then when I started working, I tried to please my superiors as much as possible. You might think that trying to please your managers and other people in positions of authority would be a good thing, but really what happened was it took a lot longer for my voice to develop. The leaders at work wanted to know what I thought, but instead I tried to anticipate what they wanted to hear. This was exhausting on top of not being helpful for anybody. So I encourage you to stifle your people-pleasing tendencies. As you get older, the person that you really need to please is yourself. Who asks if Steve is going to be pleased with this decision? Steve in his 40s. Number 12. This next tip is brought to you by today's video sponsor, HubSpot. Did you know that the average knowledge worker checks their email every 6 minutes? If you can focus on a single task without interruption for 2 hours a day and do that every day that you come into the office, you are already better off than 95% of most workers. Head-turning achievement comes from putting in a little effort each day over time, not with a heavy lift with all-nighters over the weekend. That's why I've teamed up with HubSpot to give you 5 time management templates, all for free. There's no need to reinvent the wheel here. They're simple templates that increase the chances that you'll use them regularly. My personal favorite is the daily schedule template. It's dead simple to time block your day so you can slot in that block of uninterrupted focus. The other templates are a daily prioritization planner to make sure that you get the most important things done, a delegation tracker to make sure that tasks don't get lost during handoff, a monthly schedule template to stay on top of priorities over time, and a time budget tracker to make sure that you don't overextend yourself. Get access to these templates by simply clicking on the link in the description. You know what? Since HubSpot is so awesome, we're gonna do 35 tips. Thanks again to HubSpot for sponsoring today's tip and today's video. Number 13, don't only do things that you're good at. This can get you through school and the beginning of your career. You can just do the things that come easy to you, but it's not durable. To truly grow requires that you target gaining valuable skills that you don't have yet. Don't be the guy that plays the same 3 songs on your guitar. Gaining new skills is uncomfortable, but so worth it because you gain true depth. Number 14, it gets harder and harder to make new friends. Put in the extra effort as you get older. Now, I know it's hard. I come from Seattle where we have this thing called the Seattle freeze. People are really nice in person, but then cancel on you when you actually make plans. For your existing friends, make sure to keep the relationships alive. All it takes is a text message conversation every year. At the very least, send a message on their birthday. I like to send people memes because that makes me laugh and it's an easy way to reconnect. Number 15, the cure for burnout is gratitude. If you're watching this video, you speak English and have internet access. We live in a time where life expectancy is longer than it's ever been, and poverty and violence have been at its lowest. If you read the news, things have never been worse. If you read history, things have never been better. When burnout and other stress starts to get to me, I think about how I have it a million times better than my parents, who fled their country and had to leave their lives and family behind, spend years in a refugee camp, and came to this new country with nothing other than the shirts on their backs. Embrace gratitude and burnout won't be a problem. Number 16, you are going to change jobs and be the new guy many times in your career. I worked at Amazon my entire 30s as a software engineer, so it was at the same company, but I had over 20 different managers during my time there. The trick to onboarding as quickly as possible is being comfortable with not knowing what's going on while you ramp up. Too many people stress themselves out unnecessarily because they have unrealistic expectations about how long it should take them to get up to speed. Number 17, you're going to be stuck listening to the music from your 20s for the rest of your life, and you will think no new music will ever be better. But you should break free of this. There's always wonderful new music to listen to, both before and after your golden era. Go and find it. I ask my cousins to make me playlists. They also accuse me of listening to dad rock. If they just knew how awesome it was, they wouldn't say that. Number 18, don't torture yourself with things that you have to do for longer than it would take to do them. The cure is simple. Do the thing and be done with it. So if you're dreading making a necessary phone call for more than 5 minutes, that's what I'm talking about. People will torture themselves for weeks and months unnecessarily. It just takes 5 minutes to fix. You'll do it, and you'll wonder why you didn't do it earlier. Number 19, there's still time to save for the future. If you retire at 65, you still have over 30 years of gains to lock in. Saving a little bit now will allow you to take advantage of compounding returns. My advice is to pay yourself first, which means to save a little bit of money, then pay your bills, and whatever is left can be discretionary spending. Now is the perfect time to save for your 60s if you're in your 20s and 30s. Number 20, if you're going to spend money, buy experiences instead of buying things. I can't think of anything that I purchased in my 30s that I still have, except for maybe my house and my car. Experiences give you what are called memory dividends. That's when you make lifelong memories that you can think back to fondly. Fond memories are always worth the money. Things that you buy turn into junk that you'll get rid of eventually. Number 21, don't take advice about your quarter life crisis from anybody that's still in their quarter life. I get it. It's the internet and it's really easy to make content about how you finally found yourself. Seriously though, you're 28. I have browser bookmarks that are older than you. Number 22, embrace the power of a strategic nap. A 20-minute power nap can be more effective than caffeine for boosting productivity. Number 23, in your 20s, you have a lot of time, but not a lot of money. In your 30s, you'll have a lot of money, but you will become time constrained. Things like laundry service, cleaners, and meal boxes will save you time, but more importantly, decrease your cognitive load, which greatly increases your quality of life. Trading time for money is a really great trade in your 30s because if you're money rich but still time poor, you're still poor. Number 24, you should journal regularly. I write something down on a weekly basis. If that's too big of a lift, then write 2 letters to yourself. One to open for next year and one to open in 10 years' time. Your 30s are about figuring out who you really are. This is difficult day to day, but you get clarity from reflection. I've never regretted writing down what's in my head. Number 25, you will probably lose some close friends that are your age. It's just statistics. In my 30s, I lost 2 close friends, one to suicide and one to an avalanche in the backcountry. I still think about them all the time. You don't appreciate things until they're gone from your life. Number 26, find your tribe. Online communities are thriving right now. It's never been a better time to find resources online, to find people that are on the same quest as you, and to nerd out. If you're an ambitious tech professional, come on over to my free Discord where nearly 7,000 people are helping each other level up. You'll also find me chatting there on the daily. If email is more of your thing, sign up to my free weekly newsletter. Links are in the description. Number 27. I once bought a bottle of nice wine to celebrate a promotion. I never opened it, and I told myself I would finally do so after I got my next promotion, which didn't happen for another 8 years when I was finally promoted to principal engineer. The wine tasted like garbage. The bottle I bought wasn't meant to be kept that long, and I didn't store it correctly to boot. Don't ever defer a celebration. Instead, the important thing is to enjoy things now and make sure that you're savoring the moment. Number 28, embrace your inner child. Go and buy that Lego set that you wanted as a kid. Have ice cream for dinner if you want to, and don't be afraid to jump into puddles. Adulting is way overrated. Number 29, boredom is totally okay. Your mind doesn't work right when it's always on. In the same way that we need to sleep to be at 100%, you have to periodically space out during the day so that you can maintain intense focus when you need it. Breathing consists of breathing in and breathing out. It's the same way with focus. You need to zone out and be bored so you can be intense later. Number 30, read more books. Turns out that there are a ton of mind-blowing ideas and stories that already exist that people have taken the time to write down. The internet is good for short-form content, but the truly great ideas are found in books. I've been on a quest to replace my default behavior from scrolling to reading. I know it's hard to read, but you can make it easy for yourself. I have a Kindle in my backpack for when I'm traveling, next to my bed, and one at the office. I actually worked on the first Kindle when I was at Amazon. Links to the Kindles I use in the description. When I don't feel like reading, I listen to Audible. There's really no excuse in today's modern age. Number 31, learn to curate your digital life. Unfollow liberally, mute generously, and don't feel obligated to keep up with every trend on every platform. You are what you consume, so be really picky about what you eat online. Number 32, invest in a good bed and good ergonomics. Basically anything that keeps you off the floor and keeps you healthy while you're working is a good investment because you'll be sleeping for the rest of your life and working for decades. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I didn't care about my ergonomics, and that led to a bunch of unnecessary chronic pain in my lower back and wrists. Make sure that your monitor and keyboard are at the right height. Get a standing desk. Get a good bed. These things will improve 2/3 of the rest of your entire life. Number 33, if you have problems finding a partner, make sure you start with yourself first. You have to like yourself and believe that you're worthy of a partner. You should respect your future partner by grooming yourself and making yourself presentable. You should be comfortable in your own skin, because if you aren't, then why would you expect somebody else to be comfortable with you? Once you get to the point where you don't need a partner because you're so awesome, you stop putting off desperate vibes. Ironically, that's when it stops being a problem finding someone else. Number 34. This is your life. Success is how you define it, not others. Your path is yours. You aren't ahead or behind of anybody else. Seriously, this is it. What you have in front of you is it. Which brings us to number 35, my last tip. If this video resonated with you, then my other content will as well. Make sure to like and subscribe. This video goes in depth to how much money I made at Amazon during my career there as a principal engineer. This video is filled with tips on how to find a job if you're currently looking. I guarantee you, you aren't doing all of the things that I mentioned.